Do you know the consequences for underage tattoo, Skippy?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It actually just started a rule where it's $15 surcharge on top of a minimum fee of $15 on a tattoo. So definitely know the risk. It's a lot different than piercings, because piercings, you know, a mother can take them out. You can make someone take out, but you can't take off your tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. Does it make you nervous when people come in that you don't know, even if you do charge?
A little bit, but I don't really do people that I don't know that are underaged. Like, I've had a couple people text me and ask me to do it. I'm like, I don't know.
Do you plan on working in a shop there?
Yeah, I like right now I'm just, you know, doing it at the side. The thing with me is that I have so much documented work, and it's very unique work. Some people would argue that it's like it's equivalent to professional work, so there's no reason for me to apprentice 6 months and pay $2,000 if I already know all the basics, or maybe even a little more than some of the lower class piercing tattoo shops. I could learn a little bit more about like surface and dermal implants though before I went on, but I don't need a full apprentice, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you plan on doing any other body modifications besides piercings, like
other
things like that?
That's one thing I do want to learn. Like, I'm gonna take a class from one of my friends who's like, he goes to Hell City Convention every year, and he's gonna teach me how to do scarification, because I don't have like the feel for, I know the depth of skin, but not as far as cutting goes.
What about branding?
Branding, I don't know that stuff yet. Like, or I know like
Chemical branding.
I know implants, but not like silicone implants. And I could split a tongue. I already know how to do that.
And what is scarification?
Scarification, this is what it is. It's like, see these raised scars? That's from a scalpel. They take it and they just cut into your chest with a surgical scalpel. I've also done dermal punches, like removing pieces of flesh and cartilage to put a large gauge in. Like, I removed the top of his cartilage right here, and they were about as big as mine are right now. So yeah, like, that stuff's actually illegal. So scarification, it's made with the scalpel, and it raises the flesh. That stuff has an illegal nature anyway, so you don't really need to even be in a shop to do that. A lot of people do that out of their homes and out of hotels that are even famous artists, and you just set up appointments. It's an appointment basis thing. But yeah, one day I plan to work out of a shop, if not my own. I might make my own business with him, called Lundgren Bailey Piercing and Tattoo. My mom's a business major, and she's going to help us open it up around here, because in the suburbs there aren't too many of those shops. And there's our sign behind you guys. This is our makeshift little place.
Oh, it's so cool.
Do you plan on working in a shop or getting your license?
Honestly, no.
No?
I never honestly want to work in a shop. I love doing it as a hobby and something that I do on the side, you know.
That's supposed to be open up our own.
I can, yeah, and unless we open up our own, because with the shop you also have to pay booth rent. You have to give up, you know, like, not 3/4, but maybe half of your profit. And I'm just not into that. It's not all about the money, but at the same time.
But if you're the owner,
Right.
like, it doesn't matter as much, because you're making your own money. The only thing is you have to upkeep. We're already used to buying our own equipment, which actually isn't too expensive. It's the autoclave that's going to be really expensive. Like, those are $700, and you have to replace clamps and buy a ton of new clamps every year. So when the department comes by and checks it out, it's all good. The APP regulation. And you have to stay in a shop, you have to go to the APP regulation every year, or the convention, to make sure that, you know, like, everything's up to date. You gotta take your bloodborne pathogens test.
Okay. And we already talked about how much you charge for tattoos.
Yeah.
So, how much do you charge for piercings or any other things that you do?
It's very cheap, because, like, what I learned is the less you charge, the more people will come to you. And if it's really good work, so you make more money doing them cheaper than doing them a lot, because most people, the reason they don't go to shops is because they don't have money. So I mean, like, it's anywhere from $10 to $20, and I can usually work something out as long as the people bring their own jewelry, and then I supply everything else, and autoclave needles and sterilized clamps and everything like that nature.
Okay. And what is your sanitation process for piercings?
Like, what I usually do is like, well, I told you the needles are all autoclaved. Prepackaged, sterilized, never hit the air, throw them away. I have, you know, the gloves, nitrile, latex. I try not to use latex as much because it irritates a lot of people's skin. For sterilizing the jewelry, I don't have an actual autoclave, and that would take a long time for everybody who's bringing their own jewelry. So usually I just like, you know, soak it in alcohol for like a really long time. And like, you're not getting like the same sterilization as a shop because there's certain like spores that could get in there, but it's the same likelihood that you would scrape your knee and get that infection than this one. So it's not quite like it's just like, you know, it's an equal process. And then as far as the clamps go, I just boil them in hot water for about 10-15 minutes with alcohol, and then make sure that it's perfectly clean, and then that's pretty much it.
And what about for tattooing?
Tattooing, it's pretty simple. Like I've got, each one has its own grip. I've got new grips that I use each time. The needles come prepackaged, just like him. We actually use the same company to get both of our supplies from. All of my ink is sterile. I use sterile ink. Other than that, I mean, it's not really that much of a process with it. You know, you always use gloves, that type of thing.
Green soap.
And also green soap. Green soap is a big factor in cleaning the skin, preparing the skin for the tattoo, and actually it helps transfer. Even whenever you're using transfer paper, the heat transfer tracing that you put on the skin, it helps transfer it. So green soap's a big factor in tattooing.
Okay. And how often do you guys mess up?
For the piercings, it's not really that I mess up, because usually when I feel like I didn't do it good, the people still walk away liking it. Most people don't have the same eye as somebody who pierces that area of the body every single day. So like, I'll be like, oh, I did that lip and it just seems like it could have been like a little farther in that would have suited the person's face more. And they're like, no, I love it, but like, so I wouldn't necessarily consider that messing up. And then as far, like one other thing that every once in a while when I'm doing one of those surface piercings, the bar will have too high of a rise and they're shaped like this. And like they're supposed to have a rise that's about that short, but if the rise is like that tall, then sometimes they'll stick out and lean to the side. So it's really like jewelry choice and then marking it perfectly straight, taking your time. It's like, there's a lot of factors that go into a perfect piercing, and it's not always, there's technically no perfect piercing in the world. It's just in the eye of the beholder. But most people are satisfied with my work for the most part.
Okay. And how many piercings and other implants and scarifications do you have?
Do I have?
Yeah.
Well, I've had 30 at one time. I took out most of the ones that weren't going to be permanent, because like, I'm not into temporary. I still have kept all the ones that are like permanent holes in my face. I know the implants in about 5 years are gonna, like breast implants, you have to replace them depending on person. I don't know. It's a high area of impact. And right now I think I have 16 above the neck, all stretched, and just scarification, tongue split, and implants. I don't really have anything else right now.
Okay.
Because your tongue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And how did they do the implants? Did they just cut it open and slide it in?
Yeah, where the scars, I don't know if you can see it, they cut it open with a scalpel, they separated the skin with like this flat elevator made for implants in Pacific, and then they took these half silicone domes and they slid them into that little slit and used the domes to push open the skin wider, and then just like a regular piercing, it healed scar tissue around it and made a little pocket for itself, which holds it in there in between the muscle layer and the regular layer of skin, and it can move side to side, but like it's not gonna like
completely rotate somewhere else.
Sometimes you can get shifting, but that's in the early stages of healing.
Okay. And have you ever come into contact with parents angry about
one time?
abusing their child?
One time. Every other parent has, like, since I've got a good reputation, has like actually they've either came in or signed a waiver, or called and told me it was going to be okay, or I knew the kids really well and I knew they weren't lying to me. One time the girl lied to me and it was a mistake for me to like not check with her mom, because it was a close family friend, and she was one of those people that didn't seem like she had like tattoos, and her parents didn't seem like they were the type that cared. So I was like, okay. And then her mom called yelling at me and threatening me, and I was like, I'm really sorry. So it's been one time out of like 1,000. For the most part, the people are 18. Yeah.
And have you ever come into contact with parents?
Honestly, no, I haven't. The only other one was my mom with me.
Yeah, my mom. My mom and my dad.
My mom kind of got carried away when she started seeing, like I was 15 years old and I ordered my first tattoo gun off of eBay for 99 bucks.
Yeah.
And I started just like going crazy on my legs and everything else. And my mom was like, oh my god. But eventually I actually did all of my mom's tattoos now. So like I've done her tramp stamp. And she wants me to she wants me to actually tattoo my sister's and my name around her ring finger. So, and she's okay with it now. It's just like whenever I was underage, and like you can imagine 15, 16-year-old and the kids covered in tattooed. Yeah.
Same here. Like my mom lets me pierce her friends now, and my dad recommends his friends. Same with my stepmom. But like they were angry when I was underage, doing them on myself and my sister, and like experimenting with them, and that upset them a lot.
How do they feel about all your piercings?
Well,
have they just gotten used to it? Or?
Yeah, when I first got it, like they brought me to Claire's to get my first ear piercing when I was like 14, and like they were like, okay, you can only get this if you don't wear anything that hangs. And then my mom was like, I hope just that okay, and as long as you never stretch your ears out like those kids. A year later, and I was like, no, I would never do that. I started piercing my ear like up and shit and stretching it, and I had it like this big in like 2 years, and then I started doing all the facial ones, and they got used to it.
Okay. Alright, and that sums that up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, that's fine. No, I've been tattooing maybe like 6 months, on and off.
Okay, what about piercings?
About 2 years.
2 years? Okay. And did you tattoo or pierce before you went into a shop? Like got your license?
I mean, like, besides like tattooing your thumbs with like a needle, like high school kids do, but I mean, not too many of those.
Okay. How many underage kids are there?
They try, you know, I mean, I'd like to think that like none of them have gotten tattooed, you know, but I mean some kids just take their older brothers and sisters' IDs and whatnot. You know, on an average you maybe get like one every, I don't know, maybe one every week, every 2 weeks, something like that. They always try, and it really works out for them.
Okay.
How's it going?
What is the most popular piercing?
Tragus, I think, or the tongue. One of those.
Where do most clients get their tattoos? Like, if you could generalize it.
Shoulder, I think. I think shoulder is pretty popular. Anywhere that's really not visible. A lot of people don't like visible tattoos.
Yeah. Like, do you think more males or females come in?
Oof. I'd say it's about equal. It's about equal. A lot more, maybe girls.
Okay. And as an artist, what do you think the new body modification will be? Like, what do you think it's going to be?
Like, what do you mean?
Like body
There's branding and like implants and everything. Like
there's always something new. Like something new that somebody wants to get. Like that black light ink, or like there's inserts where you can put like balls under the skin and it's like creates bumps. It's gross, but like like I think that like there's always gonna be something new. I bet you there's something I haven't even heard of.